This video is brought to you by SoccerPro.com, offering all of the latest soccer gear at everyday low prices with no membership fees. Use coupon code SR4U at checkout to get $10 off any order of $99 or more. Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Neymar Nike Hypervenom Phinish in the Ousadia Alegria colorway. Now inside the box they do include a string bag to go along with the shoes themselves. The string bag is black on black, featuring the same graphics that you're going to find on the shoes. You have black strings, you're going to find the bright crimson Nike swoosh right there in the middle, and then on the back you have the pattern continued with the Neymar branding there at the bottom. Other than that, all you're going to find inside the box, as you guys can see, are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly and we'll take a closer look at the Neymar Ousadia Alegria signature colorway of the Hypervenom Phinish. Now, in today's video, we're going to be going over all of the tech specs and details. Obviously, a lot of you guys know that Neymar himself isn't actually wearing the mid-cut Hypervenom Phantom 2. It looks like he's wearing the Hypervenom Phinish, but obviously he has some modifications to it. So what he's wearing is more like a Vapor 10 than it is an actual Hypervenom Phinish. Just keep that in mind. But nonetheless, like I said, we're going to talk about performance details on this shoe in the video. We're going to take a look at how they fit. We're going to take a look at the sizing as well and essentially cover everything you need to know if you are planning on picking these up. So if you want to learn more, please stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $225 retail price. The Neymar colorway does have a $25 premium. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's take a closer look at the colorway. Now, being that this is a Neymar signature color, you're going to find that every single shoe in the Hypervenom lineup has the same general look. It's got the offset pattern done by Brazilian artist Bruno Big. I don't really want to get into details on what it all signifies and what the story is behind this shoe. If you want to check that out, or if you want to learn more about that, I should say, go ahead and check out my video on the Hypervenom Phantom 2 in this colorway. I'll leave an annotation to that on screen. I kind of briefly explain what everything is all about. But basically what you have going on here is two offset patterns. There's two images this artist came up with. One is a heart, as you guys can see on the insole. The other is a fist, which you can see on the other insole. And what you're going to find on both of these two shoes are those images blown up in black and white, which just looks really, really cool. I like the fact that both shoes are different. And because this is not the mid-cut model from Nike, you have a one-piece synthetic tongue area with black laces and some black going around the border. It does change the look ever so slightly. I wouldn't necessarily say that it looks better or worse. I personally kind of like this a little bit better, but everyone's going to have their own opinion on that. I think that obviously not having the mid-cut collar does change the look of the shoe quite significantly, but all the other elements are pretty much identical. You have the bright crimson, which is kind of more of like a reddish color in the Nike swoosh on the front and back of the upper. Your Hypervenom branding in silver, ACC branding across the top. You can see it says Nike Skin in silver right here on the medial side. The Neymar logo in bright crimson as well. Black heel liner, bright crimson insole. And then the sole plate, as you guys can see, is bright crimson, but definitely more of an orange as opposed to red. Same thing with the tips of the studs. And then you have a translucent black stud plate over top, where as you guys can see through the actual black with that bright crimson underneath kind of peeking through. So very, very cool look. Doesn't have anything to wear off, which you won't find on the top-end Phantom 2 either. And for those that are perhaps wondering about the texturing on the upper, it's exactly the same as every other colorway of the Hypervenom Phinish that we've seen so far. The only difference is the actual pattern or color that you see. The texturing and the material is absolutely identical, no difference whatsoever. So that's pretty much it as far as aesthetics go. Let me know your opinions on these down below in the comment section. Do you like how they look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance. As far as performance is concerned, the Hypervenom Phinish is a very, very good shoe. It's an alternate top-end model to the Hypervenom Phantom 2, which leads me to this. One question I get all the time is, what's the better option, the Hypervenom Phinish or the Hypervenom Phantom 2, with the difference in price between the two being $75. This is obviously the cheaper of the two. And really, the simple answer to the question is one isn't better than the other at all. They're essentially the exact same shoe aside from the middle part of the upper and the cut at the heel. The Finish has a traditional cut with a one-piece upper design, whereas the Phantom 2 has a mid-cut with some elasticated Flyknit running through the middle in place of the one-piece upper. Other than that, these two shoes are identical. One's not going to outperform the other. They're just gonna fit a little bit different and feel a little bit different, mainly in the heel area. So ultimately it comes down to personal preference. If you prefer a more traditional low-cut shoe, Hypervenom Phinish, definitely the way to go. Whereas if you prefer or just like the look of the mid-cut design from Nike, the Hypervenom Phantom is the way to go. I personally prefer the low cut of the Finish, but again, everybody likes something a little bit different. So in terms of performance, I guess characteristics, this is a shoe with a very firm upper. It's a Nike skin material, which is definitely on the thinner side, but has a rigid sensation to it. A lack of softness, I guess, is the best way to put it. It's very, very firm to the touch. It's very firm against your foot. And if you're looking for any kind of softness at all from your soccer cleats, these don't have that on offer. The way they fit out of the box is, again, kind of unexpectedly firm, and that's not something that changes after break-in time. It doesn't soften up, it doesn't stretch. The way it feels is the way it will continue to feel. It'll become a little bit more flexible, but that's about it. So again, if you don't like how they feel from right out of the box, it's not something that's necessarily going to change all that much after some wear time. With that being said, what the firmness from the upper does have on offer as far as touch is concerned is a very pingy sensation. It's a thin kind of barefoot feel, not quite as thin as what you're going to find from the Vapor 10, but definitely very close to that. And also because the upper is so firm, it does have an extremely responsive feel when you pull the laces tight. The firmness of the Nike skin in combination with the flywire cables that run from the base of the sole into the lacing system, when you pull the laces tight, it really grabs your foot and locks it in place, making for really the most responsive feel you can get from any soccer shoe out there. And given that this does have the one-piece design, as well as the lower cut in the heel, which I personally think fits a little bit better than the mid-cut Hypervenom Phantom 2, I would argue that the Finish is potentially a little bit more responsive than the top-end Phantom 2 or the more expensive Phantom 2, but again, the difference is going to be very, very minimal. The upper does have some minor texturing to it that really doesn't play a big role in the overall feel, and the upper is also finished in ACC All Conditions Control, acting as your wet control element, allowing for slightly better grip on the ball in wet weather playing conditions. The laces are slightly off-centered, as you guys can see. You do have that one-piece material here, or the extra piece that's fused to the center part of the shoe. It's actually a slightly stretchy, thin synthetic material. Again, very similar to what you're going to find on the Nike Mercurial Vapor 10, but this one does have a little bit of padding to it, something you won't find on the Vapor model. The heel area, standard Hypervenom cut, exactly what we saw on the Phantom 1. Smooth synthetic leather liner on the inside with a decent amount of padding. The insole, fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. Mesh liner on top, no perforations. It's just a single layer of this Ortholite foam, which is actually pretty good in terms of overall step-in comfort. And then the sole plate and stud pattern. Sole plate is made from a compressed nylon material, which is actually pretty good, not compressed nylon, glass nylon, sorry, which looks pretty much identical to what we got from the Phantom 1, but is a little bit more flexible, but does definitely have some rigidity to it. Stud pressure is not an issue at all. And then of course the Hypervenom stud pattern hasn't changed at all. It's kind of a conical stud variation of what you get from the Mercurial line, so not quite as aggressive in terms of overall bite, but still plenty of grip and that freedom to twist and pivot because of the conical shape. They're fairly narrow in profile, so they dig in quite well, and on firm natural grass you won't have any issues with performance. Rarely do I hear any complaints about the Hypervenom stud pattern. It just gets the job done and works as you would expect it to. So that's pretty much it as far as tech specs and general performance on the Hypervenom Phinish. Very capable shoe, and really if you're interested in a new Hypervenom model and you don't necessarily care for the mid-cut design of the Phantom 2, save yourself a bit of money, go for the Hypervenom Phinish. It's equally as good, if not better, depending again on what your preferences are when it comes to fit. As far as weight is concerned, I thought we'd compare the Phantom 2 to the Hypervenom Phinish just so we can see if there's any significant weight difference between the two. So I'm going to be weighing both shoes for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind these are both in brand new condition. competition and both the exact same size 9 US. So this is a very fair comparison. We'll start off with the top end, or the more expensive Phantom 2, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.65 ounces, the equivalent of 217 grams, which is still very, very light. So we'll change the scale back to ounces, pull these off, and we'll throw on the Hypervenom Phinish, and you can see that they weigh in at 6.85 ounces, the equivalent of 194 grams. So the Phinish is 0.8 ounces less than the Phantom 2, which is not a ton of weight, but it's fairly significant when you're talking about an already pretty lightweight shoe in the form of the Phantom 2. So the Phinish is definitely lighter both in hand as well as on feet, and given the more traditional cut at the heel, I would argue it fits a little bit better, and for that reason is a little bit more comfortable too, which plays a big role in terms of how light they're actually going to feel. So if you do want the lighter of the two shoes, the Phinish is definitely the way to go, and in my personal opinion, based on what I like, I feel is the better version of the latest Hypervenom. All right, so here is a look at the Neymar Hypervenom Phinish on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock black laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot, I have a pair of white and black grid pattern SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You'll find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, out of the box, they aren't uncomfortable, but like I said, they have a very unique feel. As I described earlier in the video, the upper is flexible enough, but it is very, very firm. It doesn't have any softness to it whatsoever, and that's not something that changes after the break-in time. It's got a tighter fit, somewhat similar to the Vapor 10, but not quite as tight. And again, your foot is very much locked in place when you pull those laces tight. There's no movement from the upper whatsoever, which makes for a very, very responsive feel. But again, everyone has their own preferences when it comes to comfort. So if you like that soft feel on your feet, you just quite simply do not get that from any of the current Hypervenom models. As far as the overall fit is concerned, it is a tighter fitting shoe. Again, kind of similar to the Vapor 10, but not quite as tight. Given that it does have the one-piece upper, that obviously is a similar design element, but there is more width overall. With that said, this is an upper that isn't going to stretch, mainly because it's stiff. Plus you have the Flywire cables, which aren't going to give either. So if you have really wide feet, definitely not the best option for you, but if you want a tighter fitting shoe, these will be suitable for most foot types. As far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that's it for my review of the Neymar Nike Hypervenom Phinish. Again, if you guys are looking for more info, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find the high quality images of this exact pair that I took myself, as well as buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $225 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions at all regarding this particular shoe, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. Other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.